Like, I am a once in a month hamburger eater, and your friend says, "Oh, you are once in a month? I am once in a week hamburger eater." And you both laugh. How often do you eat at a fast food restaurant? Is it once, or maybe once or twice a month? Or maybe once a week? Or hopefully not, but once a day? Well, don't worry. We are not going to talk about you. We're going to talk about the US population. And if you're interested in knowing how to address this topic with an IELTS academic module report, welcome to IELTS Juice, because we're going to assess a report today together. Let's start. The chart below, which we still don't know what type of chart it is, shows how frequently people in the USA ate in fast food restaurants between 2003 and 2013. All right. And of course, the second line, summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant, is always a fixed statement. But we should not undermine it. I analyzed it earlier. So I'm going to say that again. We need to summarize the information so we don't have to write about all the data that we see. But when we select, these elements must be selected logically. So the logic matters. And then when we report, those reports must cover all the main features. Definitely. We should not miss any main features. And this is also for good score, for better scores, for higher scores. We need to make comparisons whenever it is relevant. So the relevancy is also important, and it should be logical. Anyway, your brain must be present at every moment when you give that report. So what I expect is that there are some US citizens between a duration between 2003 and 2013 who ate at a fast food restaurant. Let's see what the chart looks like. The frequency of eating at fast food restaurants among people in the USA, and the range is given. The frequency is in the percentage terms, or percentage points, 5% all the way to 40%, but we don't have any data about 40 or 35%. So it's basically below, it's 33% and below. And the range is not a full range from 2003 to 2013, yes, but there are 3 isolated years, 2003, then we have no data until 2006, and again, we have no data until 2013. That's important when you use the language. So we should not say things like from 2003 to 2006, there was a gradual increase. That's wrong, because we don't see whether it was gradual or steep or anything. The information in between is not given. So before we begin, just let me take a look at the chart. I see everyday category and the years isolated in bar chart. So this is a bar chart in the bars, and the bar for 2003 shows 4%, around 4%. I'm going to use a lot of vague language. Vague language, I'm going to put it right here, means it's not clear. And it's not a bad thing. It means you don't know. And honestly, I don't know. Is this 4.1%, 4.5%, 3.7%, 4.127%? I really don't know the exact number. And that's fine. I can use vague language. I can say it is approximately 4%, about 4%, nearly 4%, in the vicinity of 4%. you can use, and there are a lot of other words to cover vague language. But I encourage you, if you don't know or you cannot see, use vague language. That's a good trick. Let's move on to the response. The bar chart depicts. Depict is for images, for visuals, and it is correct. It actually depicts, shows the breakdown in percentages of American people who consumed fast food in restaurants in 2003, 2006, and 2013. Good. Overall, in all the given years, the majority of people ate at fast food restaurants once or twice a month or once a week. Okay, so this part wants to say that the majority of people, there we are, is in the middle. So this is the area where they ate once a week or once or twice a month. That is the majority of the people in the rubric in this IELTS question. However, so I'm going to say something a little, not a little, different, completely different. Daily eating in a fast food restaurants had the lowest percentage among the USA residents in all the aforementioned years. I like the word aforementioned. It's used correctly here. That's a good word, by the way. And this is correct, right? Every day had the lowest percentage of all. Good. So the introduction here is telling me that the type of chart is a bar chart. It is about these people for these years, and it shows what they did. So I have the data here exactly arranged. After that, there are two significant points. One is that the concentration of data is in the middle, and the middle is defined. And also the lowest percentage belongs to this category. So I kind of have this sense I receive the highest and the lowest. This is good overall. In my brain as a reader, now I have a cap, like, or a ceiling. So I have a top bar, top ceiling here, and then I have also a low bar. I have a range. Now in this range, I can see the lowest one belongs to what and the highest one belongs to what. And that is a good framework. Moving on to the first paragraph. Turning to the bar chart, there's only one visual. We were already on the bar chart, but okay, all right. It's like a teacher at the whiteboard or blackboard or green board or whatever, you know, the good old days. As you are looking at the whiteboard, the teacher shouts that, "Pay attention," and you go, "I was paying attention. I wasn't daydreaming." So this is one of those scenarios. Like turning to the bar chart, like, look at the blackboard, look at the whiteboard. I am looking at the whiteboard or blackboard. What are you talking about? Anyway, once or twice a month and once a week eating fast food. Once a week eating fast food at a restaurant were by far the most popular eating habit among the USA inhabitants. Correct sentence, correct grammar, very weird. Really, do you use the same structure in your native language? Like, I am a once in a month hamburger eater, and your friend says, "Oh, you are once in a month? I am once in a week hamburger eater." You both laugh. And also USA inhabitants feels really weird. I feel we're talking about a 5,000 year-old nation. You know, there are hunter-gatherers in the US. And imagine New York with hunter-gatherers. I, I, I don't know. Feels really weird. Once a week eating, it's really awkward. Eating once a week in fast food restaurants had the highest. Maybe that's better. That's more natural. In fast food restaurants had the highest percentage in 2003 and 2006 at almost 31% and 33% respectively. Okay, so once a week eating, 2003 and 2006, 2003, 2006, once a week eating, 33%, roughly. I mean, everything looks good. It's just a bit weird. Almost is part of the vague language. This is good. Which decreased to around 28% in 2013. All right. Which decreased to around 2013. That's fine. You see, it doesn't have any, it doesn't say gradually decreased or steadily decreased or anything. We should not say any of those words. This is correct. While in 2013, the highest percentage belonged to the people. I like this transition. I like this. The last element reported in the previous sentence was the data for 2013, and then we moved from that data to reporting new data, and the first one we start is with the 2013 data. That creates a connection in my head. That's good. That's good practice. The highest percentage belonged to the people who ate once or twice a month in a fast food restaurant at roughly 33%. All right. Again, I need to fact check that. Yes, this goes up. 33% roughly is good. I mean, vague language is spot on. Roughly is good word. All right. Which was 25% and 30% 2006 and 2003 accordingly, maybe respectively. Accordingly, maybe you could have written as according to the chart, or respectively, or sequentially, just to say that these elements come after another. I see one here. Good. I like that. There is an element of intelligence in reporting the data here to somehow keep the consistency. I love the logic and the play inside. You go from one data, you know, we reported these two, and then we reported this one, which was the lower of the two among these two. And then immediately we said how this is also in contrast, because this one is the lowest in this category, but it's the highest in the other category. And then you report it. And as you report this, you also go ahead and report the other following, or preceding, actually, the preceding years. Beautiful. In contrast, the percentage of people who ate fast food every day and never eating fast food at restaurants accounted for, good. The lowest percentage at less than 5% in all the given years. So yeah, that's easy. These two categories never exceeded 5%. That's also another smart way. It also adds a little bit of variety. So this data is not important because they're small, insignificant. I'm not saying small data or the least ones are insignificant. They can act as a significant point. By significant, I don't mean size. I mean if it is valuable to be mentioned or not. And this time, in this paragraph, since we're talking about some valuable items, like in the middle, we also mentioned some items that do not have that high a value. And we also mentioned that they never exceeded 5%, so they stayed at a cap, at a high bar of 5%. Anyway, with regard to the people who ate fast food several times a week or a few times a year, several times a week or a few times a year, these two, the percentages were below 20%, but more than 10% in all the mentioned years. In other words, they ranged from 10 to 20%. Okay, this didn't exceed 15%, but let's see. The proportion of people who ate several times a week was the highest at almost 20% in 2006, the highest in this category. I need clear language. It wasn't the highest of all time. It was the highest in this period that we are targeting in this particular paragraph. At almost 20% in 2006, near 17% in 2003, and the lowest around, I need the comma here, and the lowest around the lowest at around 15% in 2013. All right. So 2006, 3, the percentages, 20%, 17, and 15. 20%, 17, and almost 15. Yeah, that's acceptable. For those who ate fast food on a yearly basis, 2016, no, 2006. That's a typo. It's a slip. We don't have 2016. 2006 and 2013 stayed at the same level at 15%. Yes, these two stayed at the same level, 15%, with almost 2% more than that of 2003. That's good. That's variety. That shows grammar control. This is also good. The writer is definitely smart. I see a lot of intelligent moves here and there. So one note about that 2016 instead of 2006 error. That's risky. I believe because of the grammar and the report, I can still feel it might be labeled as a slip. Because all the other years were accurate. All the data was accurate and was accurately reported, actually. But here, that's a risky move. Don't think that since you just watched this video and that there was a factual element or a factual mistake here, you can get away with just one factual mistake. Don't bet on it. There are other circumstances around this. It is a factual mistake, but in this particular case, it can be understood as a typo or a slip, and that's fine. You can get away with it. But when you're preparing for IELTS, when you're writing, when you practice, don't think that such errors will go lightly. No. If you make a mistake like this in your real test, they might actually penalize you. This alone, this 2016, which should have been 2006, can bring down the task achievement from a possible 9 to a 6. That's small, simple, innocent looking error. 286 words. Let's look at the band descriptors. So the data was reported, covered, the intelligence in the maneuver. We focused on the middle part, which had the highest number of people, and then we moved to the endpoints, to the extreme low parts. And there was also a paragraph that we talked about the other two elements, the middle ones. That logic is very good. I love the logic. So because of that, the task achievement is 8. You can see, does it need more development for a fully addressed response? Yes. How? If we settled the logic at the beginning and we focused on what we are going to say throughout, if you remember, the introduction focused only on the highest and the lowest, and the middle two categories and the two categories on either side, which were the lowest data. So the introduction doesn't talk about the middle elements. The middle elements were assessed in the final paragraph, which needed better work, of course. I also need to say that I loved paragraphing, but the paragraphing could have used better structure, better. And inside it could have been in a way to cover all the elements in a smoother way. Still, this is around 8 because the paragraphing is used sufficiently. We have healthy paragraphs that they focus on what we want to hear. And the transitions are also very nice, very smooth. It could have been better if we, at the beginning of every paragraph, we actually knew what is going to be discussed for the entirety of that paragraph with a proper topic sentence. I'm not saying they don't have topic sentences. They do. They could have been better. I had the referencing was fine. We kept using referencing. That's why there is some overuse of the people who ate at the people who ate at the. We keep saying who ate, eating, who ate. We keep referring to the people, and it's repetitive. And that missing element of who may have contributed to some errors in grammar, but generally speaking, the errors did not affect my understanding, thanks to very good control over the introduction. Because in the introduction, we were introduced to the segment of the people that we're going to talk about. So throughout the report, we stayed on that topic, on those people. That's why we got our 7 over there. There's a good control over grammar. I didn't have any issue with this. Vocabulary was a bit not natural. The structure, like once a week eating people, once or twice a year fast food eating people, is very, very weird. I understand, but it's not a natural way of communication. So people don't speak like that. And I made it perfectly clear for you. This is a 7. This is a healthy 7. It's a bit risky. I told you about 2006, 2016 error. Because of that, this can go from 7 to 6.5. In my judgment, I will give it a pass. But in some of my colleagues' judgment, they might not give them the luxury of this pass and penalize the report, and you will lose a lot of marks. A lot. I mean, 2 marks from your 8, it'll become 6. This becomes 6.5. It's not good. It's just one single digit can mean you will be able to meet the requirements for admission of the university that you wish to study in, or you will not. That is the difference. And on that little bit scary note, I wish you have a lovely day.